Welcome to day 2 for the Scholar Training. First thing I want to do is I want to mention the vitaresources.net website. There is a lot of stuff on here if you want to learn some more tax law. Just to learn the basics, you don't have to memorize anything. So vitaresources.net is also where you can find these recordings. Besides that, there's a lot more information. There are drop-in sessions. So every Saturday between 7 and 9 p.m., you can pop on to my website and click this little picture for Zoom help, and I'm there. It's not a class. I just sit there. I do other work in the background. Somebody pops on and says, hey, I need help with whatever, or I just want to say hi, or I have a question. I'm there. Sometimes nobody's there. Sometimes a few people are there. But most of the time, there's not a lot of people there. But I'm there for you if you have questions. Of course, you can always email me. You don't have to wait till Saturday night because I know you guys are busy on Saturday night. When you go to fill out job applications or scholarship applications, what you do for this program looks amazing. On my homepage, you'll see this little picture on the right, and it goes over the different ways you can take what you do for this program and put it on your resume. So find something that works for what you did, and you can tweak it a little bit, but you really should be bragging about yourself and all the skills that you're going to learn with this. So today we're going to talk about, first we're going to review that tax return that we did, or you did, I didn't do it, you did last time for Miss Yager. We're going to do a little review on filing status and dependents. We're going to talk about some non-refundable and refundable credits. We're even going to talk about marketplace health insurance, and then you're going to do another tax return. And that's what I have planned for you today. So here we go. But first, I did assign homework. If you did the homework for Danny Rojas, the AGI, the adjusted gross income that you should have had for that return was $50,200. And his end results were he owed $164. Do you agree with my numbers? Yes or no? I didn't have anybody double check my work, so let me know if you agree or disagree. If you got something different and you're not sure why, or you think I'm wrong, we can talk about it. Remember, I don't have a quality reviewer. I could be wrong. I love this. I think it's fun, and I hope you do too. So the end result of the tax return that you had done last time, I had told you the AGI should have been $40,000. Your end results should have resulted in a refund of $2,603. Anytime you finish a tax return, what you're going to do is you always have to get to the end of it. You have to make sure you answer the health insurance question. You have to mark it e-file or paper file. How are they going to get their refund or pay a balance due? And then you have to mark it ready for review. Once you mark it ready for review and you exit it, you tell Miss Yager, or you can say Amy, I'm done with your tax return. I'm going to get somebody to double check it to make sure there's no mistakes. So now the reviewer has reviewed the return. There was no mistakes. They've printed it out. And now we go over it with Amy. We always go over the tax returns from beginning to end completely so they understand it. And here we go. So just so you know, when you print the return, the first page of the tax return that prints out is this 8879. This is just like it says at the top, it's an e-file signature authorization. Basically, it's permission to e-file. Well, we haven't reviewed the return. So this first page is always going to be the last page. Just staple it together and flip the page. Don't do anything on this page until the very end. And I do want to point out to you, before I actually go over this return with her, notice the yellow boxes on the right here. We have Wendy and we have Kyle. Both of them have a checkbox on the far right-hand side. So if you remember, Wendy was a qualifying relative for tax purposes, but Kyle was a qualifying child for tax purposes. These boxes down here in the dependent section, number 4, both of them say credit for other dependent. We're going to talk about what that is today. You're going to learn about that. But both of them qualify for the credit for other dependent. And that's because they're both the age of 17 and over. Okay, so here we go. Amy, will you please review all the information here at the top, your name, your address, your social security number, and your children's. Make sure everything is spelled right. And when you're done, I'll go over your return with you. Okay, so I have you down as head of household. Your total income is $40,000. This was retirement money, but since you are disabled and it's coded as a disability, I was able to classify it as earned income. So that's why we see it here on line H instead of down here as a retirement. And I'll show you why that's helpful in just a minute. And so for you guys, this is kind of the conversation that I do have with the taxpayer, and we hardly ever see these. So it's not like this conversation comes up a lot, but I go line by line. So your total income is $40,000. Your standard deduction for being head of household is 21,900, and what that means is they know you have a lot of living expenses, especially that one adult and this little mouse to feed. So your first $21,900 you do not have to pay taxes on. That is free. So we're going to subtract that from that $40,000. So instead of paying tax on $40,000, you only have to pay income tax on 18,100. A much smaller number is better. The tax on that $18,100 is $1,844. That's your only tax for the year. Now, since you had your two children on your return, you get a $500 credit for both of them. So that's $1,000. You have $1,000 credits that's going to pay your taxes for you. And so your only tax for the year is $844. That's all you had to pay on that $40,000. But when you had that retirement money given to you, you had them withhold $2,000. You already paid in $2,000. And because your income is low and Kyle is disabled and living with you, you get what's called an earned income tax credit of $1,447. And that's because we took that retirement money and we said it was earned income, not retirement income. And so you're getting a $1,447 credit for that. So the 2,000 and that 1447 comes to a total of $3,447. The only tax you had to pay was $844. So you're going to get the difference back as a refund. And so your refund is $2,603. Do you have any questions for me? And if she does, I'm going to answer those questions. If not, then I'm going to say, you asked for a direct deposit. So I need you to verify that your routing and account number on here are correct. It's very, very important you make sure these numbers are right, because if it's one number off, Amy, you're not going to get your money. So please, please, please double and triple check these numbers. And if you say it like that, they're going to double and triple check them. And if everything's good, then I'll flip to any other pages that are there. And here's the other page that's here. And all I do on this page is I'll say, this form just shows you that Kyle is the one that qualified you for that earned income credit that you got, that $1,400. So that's what this page is. Then I'm going to go back to that very first page. So what I'm going to say to Amy is, before I can e-file this to the IRS for you, first I need to ask, do you have any questions? If she doesn't, okay. Then before I can send it, I need you to sign. But first I need to say, under the penalties of perjury, you've reviewed this return. To the best of your knowledge, it is true, accurate, and complete, because you are responsible for this return, not me. If you'd like me to send it to the IRS for you, I need you to sign here. When she signs it, then I put this along with her 1099, anything else, make sure she has her ID and her social security card back, all her documents, this tax return, the paper she signs, but it goes in this big white envelope the IRS provides to us. And then we say, see you next year. Tell your friends about us. The only thing my program keeps is the intake forms. Every program's a little different, but if you're in my program, we keep the intake form. And at the very top, we're going to write ready to e-file. Explaining a return to a taxpayer can be a little intimidating. Some sites, the quality reviewer will do it. Some sites, you might have to do it. The best thing you can do, just practice. That's what I did at home. I just practiced this over and over again until I felt comfortable explaining it. I don't read the lines word for word because it's confusing. So make it in your own language. In your book on page 55 are the test questions for this scenario. Make sure you work through those. You can check your answers on my website later. One of the questions we get asked a lot is, when am I going to get my refund? Well, the IRS tells us to say you should get it in about 21 days. I will say that most people get it in 7 to 10, but do not promise them that. What I'll tell a client when they ask me is like, I'll say to them, well, the IRS tells us to say 21 days. Most people get it in 7 to 10. But whatever you do, please do not spend it until you get it. That means don't promise the money to anybody that you think, because you think you're going to get it in 2 weeks. Don't do that, because you just never know if your return is going to get selected to be looked at for anything in particular. It could take longer. I did a set of twins on the same day. They both worked Crackle Barrel and they both went to the same college. There was nothing different about their returns. One got it in 10 days, the other took about 4 months because he got randomly selected to be looked at for something. So that's what I just tell people. But most do get it as long as, they're not randomly selected and there's no other issues in 7 to 10 days. However, this holds true every single year because of the amount of fraud that takes place with the earned income tax credit and child tax credit. Any returns that have those credits on there cannot be processed by the IRS until after February 15th. So returns can be filed, but they cannot issue refund checks until after February 15th. So it could be the end of February before those people see their check. But if they don't have those credits and they process it early January, or late January, early February, they should get them pretty quickly, provided there's nothing else going on.